Welcome to Taste Buds. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, writer, and foodie. And today I'm speaking with Matthew Jonas and David Foerstner, the co-founders of Good Karma Chocolate. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
What makes chocolate good karma? Let's start there.
Oh, that's a good question. So here's the thing. Both Dave and I share a passion for all things dark chocolate. One of the things we noticed when we looked at the marketplace for this kind of a product that we make, which is very specific, it's called bean to bar chocolate, and we do drinking cacao as well. But uh, in this market, most of the brands that are out there are very serious, very, very serious brands. And we thought, chocolate, when you get a chance to taste really good chocolate in your life, that is a moment of joy, right? That is a moment of pleasure. That is like a special moment. So, yes, we're serious about how we make it and making sure we're ethical in all those ways, but we also want people to have a good feeling, right? The other thing, because we do keep in mind that we want to be good for the planet, we want to be good for the people on the planet, that when you buy good karma, you also know that, farmers are getting paid a living wage and the earth is being taken care of and you're putting organic products into your system. So it's creating good karma for you and for the world. And that's the idea.
Ooh, I love it. Anything to add, Dave?
And it's delicious. It makes you feel good. And yeah, it should be fun.
And in each bar of chocolate, we include these little seeds of good karma wisdom. And we've taken quotes from like a wide range of people and included that in there because we want people to connect with that space of openness and that space of feeling good about themselves, no matter where they're at, and then bringing that intention into the experience with the chocolate or with the cacao.
Kind of like a Chinese fortune cookie with some sort of mindful comment about being your person or having karma. Quotes from Dalai Lama and Dolly Parton.
And Frank, by the way, also. So all kinds of people.
Awesome. So it's good karma, but it's also good juju, right? It's good inspiration. You're eating good karma, and then you want to give more good karma to the world. So you both do other things. I know Matthew because he husband of my dear friend Kitty Jim, and David, my new friend, is also a food scientist. So what are your individual backgrounds and what led to saying, okay, we're going to do a good karma chocolate company?
Here's what happened. This is my version of the story.
Then we'll see if they match. Okay.
Exactly. Probably, but so here's the deal. Actually has very little to do with chocolate. What it does have to do with is the fact that years ago, I gave up drinking coffee. And for a long time, I've kind of been searching for another beverage. And about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I discovered this idea of drinking cacao. And I found it, and I found some products that were commercially available. And quite honestly, I didn't like them. They were sort of like instant products and heavily flavored and, not good. So I started to at home, I bought some beans and I like made my own. And I would did it a couple of times. And I'd been working with Dave for a few years on some other coaching stuff. And I said, "Hey, Dave, you're a food scientist. Why don't you help me, make this cacao drinking product? We can partner on this." And he said, I'll only do it on one condition. And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "I've always wanted to make chocolate." And I said, "Okay." So that's how Really Good Karma became a company in the sense of making, dark chocolate bars that are single bean to bar, which means we order the beans, we hand roast the beans, we process the beans, stone grind them, and make bars from one origin bean. And then we make drinking cacao, and that people can buy and make as a morning beverage. And we have different blend-ins that you can flavor it with. So, Dave, is that right, or do you want to add anything?
Sounds right.
Sounds pretty right.
I think your exact words were, you need to talk me out of doing this job. I'm the wrong guy to talk you out of things.
That's right. That is true. You're right.
And the goal will make you do things or helps you do things.
I want to know what inspires someone to become a food scientist because I just find that absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I got into it by accident. But I'd always been a foodie. I always cooked since I was a kid. I know I have very good taste buds. So I had a temp job with Nestle more than 30 years ago, working in the R&D department. And once they started having me taste things and they realized that I knew how things tasted, and they were like, how do you know that? I go, well, I know how things. And so then they mentored me for like 3.5 years in food science, engineering, chemistry, microbiology, pilot plants and manufacturing. So by the time I got out of there, I figured at least I have my master's of PhD in food science, trained by the biggest food company in the world. So I'm good at it. I liked it, but I stayed with it.
I want to know what you did in this or previous life that gave you the good karma to end up in that situation.
I went to art school. My degree was in fine art photography, and I've said this a million times, and I still think it's true that, art is all about process, and especially photography is very technical. Darkroom photography at the time, you have to measure your exposures and measure this, and then in the darkroom you have to measure and do trials and write it down. It's the exact same thing for food science as it is for photography, but it's for food, and it's creative, it's visual, and it's technical.
I would say, just having worked with Dave and known Dave for quite a while, that what he mentioned it, but the fact is that he is like a super taster. So he can suss out, like if you give him something to taste, he'll tell you what the ingredients are. He'll give you the flavors. He'll tell you add this. And it's not, I mean, he's really like, he can taste, it's like somebody with music. People can hear things in music. I mean, I play music, but I can't hear what, other people can hear, and they can just hear every note and every instrument. And Dave's like that with food. He's kind of a savant in that way with the food. So it's that art mixed with the science. And I think that's what makes him really successful.
And the innate talent. And so, how, Matthew, does this business fit in with music and all the other endeavors that you're involved in?
Well, I think this is just another expression. I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur myself. I started a marketing company with two partners, back in the early 2000s. And, we did very well. We actually worked with not Nestle, but the other biggest candy company in the world, M&M Mars. And they were our client for many years. So I've always been on the creative and strategy side of things. And I ran another pet products company for a couple of years after that. So I've always been involved in startups and wanting to do new projects. And this drinking cow just changed my life in a positive way, where I finally found a drink that I could drink every day. It gave me what I needed from, what coffee used to do, but it was just so much healthier for me, and made me feel a lot better. So I'm just sort of on a campaign to make sure everybody knows about it. Most people, you say, Cacao, what? Or they think it's hot chocolate, or they think it's something like that. But it's a different experience.
So, good karma, chocolate, that's pretty
Yeah.
new.
It's pretty new. We are just really launching. It has been a side project for both of us. It took a couple of years to kind of get the product development underway. Um, and also get the right formulation. We went through a number of iterations on the cacao side, for example, of how we were going to present the final product. Originally, it was going to be very kind of raw and unprocessed, and as sort of a ground product. And after doing some consumer testing, we realized that the taste was good, but the consumer experience wasn't great. It was a little messy to deal with. So we revised that into the squares. Yeah, they're
Cacao is
little five
awesome.
gram squares, and they come in, a bag, just like a bag of coffee. And you just pour those in a cup, and pour in a hot beverage, and mix in, whatever flavorings you want, sweetener or milks, and so forth. And voila, you've got your morning beverage. So it took some iteration, and the chocolate bars as well. Uh, as Dave can tell you, chocolate is temperamental. It's a tricky thing to make consistently, especially small batch like we do. where you're not using, big expensive equipment to highly process it. We try to minimalize the processing so we can retain the natural flavors and, the nutrients that are inside it.
Dan, what is it that you love about this product?
Well, it's something I discovered along the way of the process is, I always like, everyone likes chocolate and you think you like dark chocolate. But I never really bought it. And then when I started making chocolate from scratch, Matthew said all the serious bean to bar chocolate guys and stuff, they don't do the beans justice. They they over roast it and they burn a lot of it. You don't get those notes that come out that are fruity notes and, all the kind of notes that you can get. Chocolatey notes, acid notes, earthy notes. And so each bean that we use is completely different in that. And so when we're using our super taster mouths and all that kind of stuff, we can really draw out a lot of flavors that I don't see in other people's thing. I either see something that's over roasted or that's very kind of flat and generic. Ours kind of seems to have a lot of character. And I noticed this again at the thing that we did a couple weekends ago. The bean to bar people there, just very flat, very good quality and everything, but ours has Riz, as the kids say.
Well, yeah. So, Deb, one thing to note, so we are single origin cacao chocolate makers, which means that we have 3 different bars that we currently offer. We have a bar from India, from Madagascar, and from Colombia. And the whole idea of our chocolate is that most commercially processed chocolate that you consume, first of all, it's very low in the actual cacao content that's in there. You're mostly eating milk and sugar. So you maybe have like 20 or 23% cacao. Ours is 73 or 75%. So it's much richer in the cacao content. And the only other ingredient is some organic cane sugar. So when you taste our bars, and what I normally do at an event is we'll give a person a taste of all 3 bars. They are so distinct in their flavor because, as Dave pointed out, the terroir, what was in the soil goes into those beans. And so there's some have that more acidic note, and one's a fudgy taste, and one's somewhere in between. Somebody once accused us of putting a raspberry jam in our chocolate. We're like, there's no raspberry jam. That is just flavor of the bean. Again, most commercially produced chocolate is a whole bunch of beans mixed together. So you lose that nuance. And we're trying to preserve that and also create a place for people who really enjoy dark chocolate to understand what they like and what their flavor preferences are.
Matthew, for you, what, if anything, from your Jewish upbringing do you think led you to pursue food?
So here's the funny thing about my Jewish upbringing. Um, so my dad came to the United States from Germany in 1939. Right. So he doesn't consider himself a like survivor or anything because he really got out just before, things got kind of bad. But he came to the country and it really wasn't popular, let's just say, to be Jewish. So he kind of went into academics and wasn't really very Jewish. And my mom, who grew up here, was born in New York. But so I grew up in a household which was Jewish affiliated, but like very, like not even lox and bagel Jews, right? We were really not that Jewish. I chose to be Jewish when I got married and when I was going to have a baby, and I wanted to raise her Jewish. I wanted to give her what I didn't have, which was just some foundation to then she could make her own decisions. So I would say I'm sort of a Jew by choice. So, but what I learned from that experience is where I kind of came up through it was that, we get to make choices and decide who we're going to be, but also this idea of community. Right. The first synagogue that I was really a part of was this really robust and vibrant place, and it had so much energy and enthusiasm. It really kind of drew me into a lot of the study, and I went and had an adult bar mitzvah, and I did all these things. And so I think about, this chocolate community is is a little bit like that. Like even at this chocolate salon where you meet other chocolate makers, and we're all sort of passionate about this and trying to make a business out of it. And it's, with all the challenges of all small business, builders, right? And so it's, but we're also trying to spread this message of joy and pleasure and, the positive things that you can have in your life through, simple chocolate. So I think this idea of community and trying to make a better impact on the world, kind of leave it better than I found it attitude. I kind of take that from my experience of what it was like, in choosing to become, and, you know, active in my Judaism. And by the way, I have 3 children and they've all been bar bat mitzvahed, and, they sit with me on high holidays and we fast together and all the good stuff. So, we keep it present in our lives.
Nice. And you became a chocolatier by choice?
Dave, did you have a choice? Yeah, yeah. I think he was always a chocolatier. He just didn't get to express it until I dropped 250 pounds of beans on his doorstep.
I do like the fact that you said, "Help me with this, drink," and he said, "I wanna make chocolate too." So, it's also the melding of the different things that you wanted to create, you're creating together, so in and of itself, you are the community that you are creating of people to be more discerning and, respectful
Yeah.
and joyful of chocolate.
Yeah. And, people often will ask uh, us, like, well, what's your goal? Right? You're the goal expert, right? What's our goal? And the truth of the matter is, we are trying to build this community of people who want to have these different chocolate experiences. They want to, enjoy a product that's good for you. So we're trying to curate a community as well of people who enjoy and connect with, the same idea that we have. And what we love about it is, what are the tastes and where does it come from? And how can we, you know, um, educate and inform other people who are just, blindly eating over processed and over sugared stuff and thinking that it's chocolate.
Apparently, it is not. So, I like to also ask my guests to share a recipe, and I think this is where I go to you, Dave. What is this recipe you wanna share, and how can people make it special or individualize it for their own chocolate needs?
Well, for our drinking cacao, which I showed you the little squares, here they are again. And there's the bag. And here is the spice blend this is like our ceremonial spice blend. So, um, in indigenous cultures where cacao started in Mesoamerica, they would harvest these, roast it. They'd do it in a community, in a ceremony, like a harvest ceremony. Since cacao makes you feel great and all that stuff, it was like a magical thing for them. They put local spices and chilies and things like that in it to make it even more powerful. So what we do is we put between 4 and 6 of these little wafers, either hot water or the kind of milk of your choice. I use water and put milk in it later. Matthew uses almond milk. So like a cup of hot liquid that you like, melt the squares in there from 4 to 6. And then we put between a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of the spice blend. A little bit spicy. It's got cinnamon, black pepper, turmeric, cardamom, and cayenne pepper. So I go crazy for it. It makes me feel so good. And,
Well, and Dave likes to put a little honey in too.
yeah, I like to put a little honey in. People like more, people like less. Sometimes the milk is enough. So put all that stuff in, blend it with the frother.
And what we'll do for whoever's watching this, Deb will write up a little recipe. So you'll have some measurements and things like that you can make your own blend. And like Dave said, we have actually 3 different blend-ins, we call them, for the cacao. One is the ceremonial. By the way, in the ceremony, the cacao ceremony, and I encourage people to do this with the chocolate as well, is the idea is to set an intention for yourself before you imbibe it, right? Like, what do you want to get out of this experience? What are you here for? And just kind of connect with that, creating some good karma around this. This is this gift I'm giving to myself. So you set that intention, And we actually have a kind of a chocolate prayer that exists, I think, on the website right now, but will eventually end up on our packaging. Oh, I was saying we have 3 blends. We have the ceremonial. We have a mushroom, like adaptogenic mushroom, which is very high in beta glucans. It's for focus and energy. And then we also have a chai blend, which is similar to the ceremonial, but it has more of those Middle Eastern spices and gives you kind of a very different mouth feel than with that chai flavoring. So it's just a way to vary it up in the morning, and also just depending on your taste preferences.
Because you would not want to get bored at all with chocolate, like that was possible. But I also love the idea of it's not just drinking chocolate, it's that having the intention in bringing these flavors into your body to make everything better, right? Good karma inside and out.
Well, here's the thing. Again, that other breakfast beverage that everybody drinks. Have you ever met somebody who's like, "What's wrong?" And they're like, "I haven't had my coffee this morning." And I always want to say to people, "Who are you without your coffee? Like, are you still dead, or are you like some lesser version of dead?" Right? So, like, and is that how you want to like? Does that? That's not true, right? You're still fully dead,
Oh,
right?
I have had no coffee yet today. And the role of Deb is and always is played by Deb. So yes, very
So
much
the,
so.
the point is, is that with cacao, we don't want you to be dependent on cacao. It doesn't have the high levels of caffeine and all that stuff. We want you to enhance it by choice. Like, choose, what do you want from this? What do you want it to bring to your day? What do you want it to bring to how you're feeling? I mean, where you're in control of that. So I very much want to put this in the consumer's hands and give them the opportunity to, create their own good karma.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Matthew and Dave, for joining.
Thank you. This is our first brand podcast, so we're like excited.
Happy to have you both here. Where can people learn more about Good Karma Chocolate?
Goodkarmacacao.com. Cacao is spelled Cacao, not cocoa, cacao. And goodkarmacacao.com. And you can see all of our products. They're all available for sale. We currently have 3 bars. That's Madagascar, that's Colombian, that's Indian, and of course, our bags of drinking cacao, and also, ceremonial blends. So we'll have all our mix-ins available too. So it's all coming out. We're a small batch maker, so sometimes if you catch us, we might have to go make more product. But we'll be in communication with you, and we would appreciate your support.
Awesome. And I normally say, do you have any final food for thought? So do you have any final chocolate for thought?
Chocolate for thought. Well, I should have had a good karma wisdom card ready, but I don't. So here's what I say is, bring some good karma into your life, whether it's through our product or just on your own, but the world needs a lot of good karma right now. So if you've got it to give it. And if you need it, take it from me or take it from somebody else. But let's just all do that.
Dave, final chocolate for thought?
Well, I like what Matthew said, and I think that it's great to, people love discovering new things and new applications of things and new flavors of things, along with what it can be, how different it can taste, and how fun it is to share.
Wonderful.
Deb, we're going to send you a little thank you package so you can try it and see what you think. I want to get your opinion on how everything tastes. And
I am more than happy to be your tester.
yes.
Thank you both so much. Matthew Jonas, David Foerstner, thank you for tuning in to Taste Buds with Deb. Don't miss an episode. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, and your favorite podcast platform. And if you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, you will get the cacao recipe, the drinking cacao, and read the articles that go with each episode. And you can learn more at tastebudswithdeb.com. Until next time, enjoy your cacao, enjoy your good karma, and bon appetit.